Now we need the Portland City Council on board to make this happen, and I believe we can get there. Right now, developers are ready to build 4,000 homes in Portland, but too many projects stall because of costs. Waiving SDCs can cut thousands of dollars the cost of building a home, and we can make the difference of someone being able to make the decision to build and or buy a home in our city. By temporarily waiving these fees, we can make the numbers work and turn stalled plans into real homes for real people. This is about making seniors can stay in the city that they've helped shape. It's about giving students and young adults and families a fighting chance to call Portland home. Investing in housing isn't just about roofs and walls. It's about economic growth, opportunity, and stability. And we have everything we need to do that here in Portland. We have and are blessed with skilled labor and lumber and land. These ingredients are what are going to be the beginning of the renaissance that we all want. We need to let developers and builders do what they do best, and that's build. And that's what we're going to invite them to do in Portland now. So thank you. I'd like to turn it over to the governor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning. It's great to be here in Portland City Hall. It's a beautiful day and a great day to announce hopefully a new partnership with the private sector and a challenge to get more housing built here in the city of Portland. As the mayor has said, we have brought housing developers together to talk about what those barriers are to construction here in the city, and there is going to be a longer set of recommendations coming. But both the mayor and I are impatient. We are impatient types because we see the urgency and we want to move forward with big and bold ideas when we have the opportunity. I'm here to fully support the mayor's proposal on this challenge of getting 5,000 new housing units built in the city of Portland. And I'm very pleased to see the work that he has done and the support from his city councilors to explore this idea, to work out the details, and get it done as soon as possible. And I hear that the details of this proposal could potentially be worked on very soon in the committee to bring it up then to the city council. And that's a sense of cooperation, collaboration, urgency that we need to see when it comes to having the city of Portland be what it can be and making sure people have the ability to get housed. The city is on the mend, the city is on the move, and we need private sector partners to be part of that success story, which means more construction in the city of Portland. This temporary waiver of system development charges is a strategic way to say we are open for business, that we need that help with the private sector to get these projects to pencil and get to construction. We have a lot of projects in the permitting pipeline here in Portland, and we just need to get them over the hump. There's really no time to waste. We need more housing supply. Housing supply, more supply will reduce the cost of housing, which we know from an affordability standpoint is very significant for families not only in Portland, but across the state of Oregon. You know, we might hear from folks that in a tight budget environment, should you be doing something like this? And I say, when things are tight and things are challenging, you need bold ideas. You need to be creative. And this, I think, is a strategic way to do that, to say we want that economic development, which will have long-term benefit to the ability of the city of Portland and the state of Oregon, frankly, to fund essential services. But if nothing is getting built, we're not moving forward. So this will help get things built. The mayor and I work together regularly to talk about the progress that's being made in Portland. There is progress happening. We have to push it further, push it with more speed, and that's what this challenge is about today. We can build 5,000 units quickly here in the city of Portland. We need to do that, and the city of Portland is a partner with the private sector, and as your governor, I support that and will do what I can to be an ally in that work. So thank you very much. And with that, I'd like to share the podium here with Council President Alana Perdoglini. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you all for being here today. I've made it clear in my work as Council President that SDCs are a critical tool that allows us to make long-term investments in our community. But this is an extraordinary time. I'm ready to explore this temporary approach to kickstart progress, recognizing the unprecedented challenge that our city must overcome to address the needs of building the resilient future that we all envision. The details here matter. Portland needs housing now. But if we do this right, this plan can get housing built in the next 2 to 4 years. Housing that our community desperately needs, creating good jobs and taking an important step toward ensuring that every family across Portland has a place to call home. I'm here today joining the governor and the mayor in taking this bold step to spur growth for the city we love. I know that together we can address our housing crisis. This effort can be a win for labor, a win for families, and a win for our city. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. I'm City Councilor Jamie Dunphy, proudly representing Portland's East Side, and I'm really thrilled to be involved in this effort. I'm the Vice Chair of the Housing and Homelessness Committee. Portland desperately needs bold action to build more housing and build it quickly. And this is a bold step that potentially would have been unthinkable in past times and in better times. But waiving SDCs for a time-bound strategy is a way to catalyze the housing production in our city, and we desperately need housing of all types, of all income levels. And so this is the right step for right now. This is about keeping Portlanders in Portland. Seniors need to be able to age in place. Families, students, and young workers need to be able to feel good about living in the city, building their careers, raising their families. And this is an effort to try and increase the amount of housing that they need in order to stay here. With this proposal, we're leveraging the resources that Portland already has, an incredible skilled unionized workforce. We have local timber and materials and developable land inside the city boundaries. And this plan keeps our labor force here, so they're not forced to have to find work elsewhere, and we lose them forever. This is a down payment on Portland's future. Waiving SDCs for a short time is a long-term investment in Portland's success, and will hopefully kickstart back our economic viability, our community stability, and the kind of community that we all deserve. So, thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tom Kilbane with Urban Renaissance Group, a full-service commercial real estate firm with offices in Seattle, Portland, and Denver. We own and manage about 3 million square feet of office and commercial space here in Portland, which includes the Lloyd Center Mall, and we're leading the redevelopment effort of Lloyd Center. I want to start by saying that it's really great to see the governor and the mayor standing here together at the podium with members of council working together to address our housing challenges. The alignment of our elected officials is a refreshing change. We're encouraged that they've reached out to the business community to engage in a real substantive discussion about addressing the issues we're facing. Solving our housing challenges will require a public-private partnership, and we're glad to be part of that conversation. The recovery of our market rate housing sector is going to take a lot of work. At the very top of the list is to ensure people feel safe and secure within the city, and we want to thank Mayor Wilson for making this a priority. We're seeing increased foot traffic, more workers returning to the office, new shops and restaurants opening up, and it's a clear sign that the administration's efforts are working. So please keep it up. The SDC moratorium announced today will not solve all of our problems, but it is a strong and meaningful step in helping move multifamily housing projects toward financial viability. It also sends a clear signal to investors that Portland is open for business and that our elected leaders are engaged and ready to work with us. On behalf of the working group, I want to thank the governor and the mayor for their leadership. There's more work to do, and we're here to do it with you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you to Governor Kotek and Mayor Wilson for inviting me to say a few words today. And it's great, as Tom said, to see a couple of the members of City Council here as well at the podium. My name is Sarah Zahn, and I'm the Managing Director of Development at Security Properties. Security Properties is a multifamily development and investment firm. We own and manage over 20,000 multifamily apartments in 10 states, including more than 2,000 units in the metro region and nearly 1,000 here in Portland. We have another 341 units under construction set to deliver this fall in the Goose Hollow neighborhood. I'm also the current board chair of Oregon Smart Growth. Oregon Smart Growth is a coalition of developers and other companies, including architects, contractors, land use attorneys, and lenders engaged in the multifamily real estate business. We advocate for policy to strengthen the multifamily industry in our region, and we are grateful that the mayor and governor heeded OSG's call to action and created this work group to address the challenges our industry is facing. We are currently experiencing a crisis in multifamily housing development in Portland. For developers such as Security Properties who design and build multifamily projects at scale, the market is essentially frozen. In our current economic environment, projects are unable to develop financial feasibility and attract capital. While this is not necessarily unique to our region, it is pronounced in Portland and requires bold action. The action to place a moratorium on system development charges is a significant step by the city, as SDC fees can approach nearly $20,000 a unit. We applaud the mayor, city council, and governor for recognizing that meaningful action is required and for leaning into solutions. It's important to also recognize this is not a silver bullet. The proposed SDC moratorium is an important first step in a series of actions that we need our public officials to take in order to galvanize new development. Our region also needs to embrace action to encourage economic growth, job growth, and population growth, all critical to a healthy local economy. Security Properties and OSG members are all highly invested in the success of Portland. This is an important first step towards unlocking future development, and we look forward to working with both the governor, mayor, and city council to pursue additional ideas and actions that can help our industry grow housing supply in Portland. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Andrew Colas. I'm President and CEO of Colas Construction. We're a vertically integrated construction company and development company. I'm a second-generation business owner and a proud Oregonian, lifelong Portlander. I'm here today and I'm excited. I'm excited because I've heard so many people talk about bold vision. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. It's a bold vision by our governor, by our mayor, and our council members. And this is critically important to our city, our state, and our region as a whole, because one of the big problems that we do have is housing affordability. We've talked about it today. There's a housing crisis. And what this is going to do is to help stimulate more housing production. We need more housing production. That in turn is going to create more housing affordability. And what this leadership signals is that this city, this state, this region is open for business. And that's a bold statement by incredible leadership. So I'm really proud to be here today and to support this. And I'd like to reinforce the importance of understanding that in order to create more housing affordability, we have to have housing production. I'm a pro-housing person because I believe it really is about supply and demand. And as we create more housing supply, we're going to create more housing affordability. And this leadership signals that this city is open for business. So I commend the leadership again of our mayor, of our governor, and our council members, and I'm proud to stand here in full support of this big, bold move. Thank you very much.
All right, we're gonna get started. Go ahead, Governor and Mayor. I'll just stand over here. Protocol before we get started on questions. I will call on reporters in the room. And I know we're all kind of spread out, so we're gonna have to work together as a team to get Lucas's mic to you, and then back to him. So we're gonna be a team here, and then so we're gonna go 2 in person, 2 virtual. Got it? All right. I saw Christina with her hands up.
And if they want to speak with someone else, they need to say it.
Yeah, and if you have a question for one of the group behind us, just tell me up front.
This is a question for either the mayor or the governor. As you know, building permits are not a short-term solution. Right now, there's a really high number of evictions. Recent data shows people are becoming homeless quicker than we can house them. Are you gonna have any affordability requirements, increased affordability requirements along with these SDC waivers?
We don't plan on any affordability requirements, but I want to talk about the other side of that equation. It's people who can't afford the rent. And so by adding inventory, we're going to bring down the cost of housing, but the other side of it is job activity. Portland has the lowest job creation rate in the nation. What we're doing with this is stimulating workforce development and more workforce and jobs. And so it's the other side of the equation that we're also actively looking at as well.
can you talk about the short term versus long term, and then how is that stimulating jobs? I don't
Well,
necessarily see that.
We're going to stimulate by adding 5,000 new homes to the economy in the next 3 years. So we're going to have specific timeframes on it. So we're going to create jobs now, good paying jobs. That'll stimulate the economy and really help us bring back our city.
You're talking about
Thank
construction?
you, Christina, gotta
Yes.
move on.
And if I could just address really quickly, there are no new affordability requirements. However, remember, in the city of Portland, there is an inclusionary zoning policy, and we have heard from developers that they are planning projects that do address the inclusionary units that would have more moderate income households in mind in the units they are planning. So I just want to be clear, like, this isn't no affordability, it's using the existing affordability requirements that are on the books here in Portland and encouraging folks to include them in the projects that are ready to go today.
So SDCs, obviously, those pay for things like infrastructure, roads, water. How are you gonna pay for that increased weight on those services if you're bringing in all these new residents? And also, Governor, would you recommend other cities do the same thing? We've got lots of cities in Oregon facing housing crises.
Yeah, we looked and we discussed that and we had some great conversations. I want to just segue and just say thanks to the work group for having these conversations. And then also behind the scenes with the Council President Perugini and Dunphy and Zimmerman, we had these robust discussions on, well, what do we do after? How do we address the capital? But right now, with only 800 homes being permitted and built this year, and the governor set out a bold vision this last couple of years. She wants to build 30,000 homes in Oregon, which means that Portland has to be building 5,000 or 6,000 homes
Per year.
per year. We have to do our part in Portland. Yes, there are going to be deferred costs or capital, but without any activity, we're not collecting any we're collecting only SDCs on 800 units right now. So yes, we're going to be losing that capital, but we're confident that the short-term loss of the capital will really help out with long-term gains for Portland.
I agree. I think the deferred collection here in the moratorium will spur construction, and that's what we need. And those longer-term economic impacts are what we need to be promoting right now. Remember, system development charges are particularly acute when you're building in a brand-new place. These are units in places within the city limits where there is existing infrastructure. So there's not like it would be funding something right now that has to get built because they're in existing infrastructure. In terms of other cities, we have had conversations at the legislature with legislators about the idea of when SDC fees should be collected, on what types of projects. There's a bill right now in the legislature that says, can the state be a partner to help defer SDC collections until the projects are actually open? It's very difficult for developers who have to put up a lot of upfront money, including SDC fees in some places, before they can even open. So when you collect them is also important. But it's going to be up to every city. They need to look at their environment, decide what they need. Because of the level of housing needed in Portland, you need something like this. We need something like this to get the private sector to really step up and be part of the solution by helping them with their bottom line.
Lucas, you got two.
First virtual question comes from Alex Zielinski at OPB, and Alex's question is for Mayor Wilson. SDCs are a critical funding source for some city bureaus, bringing in millions of dollars every year. Some of those bureaus are already facing deep cuts this budget cycle. How do you plan to keep those budgets whole while incentivizing new construction?
Yeah, so these are capital costs for longer term projects. So it's not going to have an immediate impact in this next fiscal year. But that gives us a year to start determining what's next on the planning. And we can then begin the fundraising conversations. The governor and I have been meeting regularly about other funding sources with Metro, county, state. This isn't just a Portland challenge. This is a challenge for the state because, yes, there's going to be not big holes, but some holes. But I'm confident over a period of time, we'll fill those holes and continue the capital infrastructure gains that we have to do to provide a city that's safe.
Another virtual question, this one's from the TCS Northwest. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy said yesterday that states that issue driver's license to undocumented citizens will see less money for road and bridge projects, and truck drivers who don't speak fluent English can lose their jobs under the new executive orders. How can these national directives exacerbate housing production issues locally with no money for roads, bridges, and not enough truck drivers?
Well, here's what I would say about our friends in Washington D.C., they're not making it easier for us. I'm just gonna be really upfront. We have, costs of materials are going up, we still have inflationary pressures, and what we need from the federal government is more help and more certainty about what we're trying to do here in Oregon. That being said, we know what our values here are in Oregon. We stand up for communities who contribute, and that includes our immigrant communities. The laws that have been passed here reflect Oregon values, and we'll be reviewing any directive from any of the federal agencies to see how they would apply here. But at the end of the day, we need to get people to work. We need to build communities that are safe. We are doing that here. We need help from the federal government. We do not need impediments to getting the job done here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is a question for Mayor Wilson or the governor as well. We've heard from many homeowners that the community permitting processes are really making it hard for people to make the repairs to their home in order to stay in their home. So we are wondering, is that permitting process making it too hard? Is there an efficiency problem with permitting in Portland? And beyond the bureaucratic restructuring that has to be done, what more needs to change to speed up the permitting process so people can fix up their homes and stay in them instead of finding new ones?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and I agree. We can do better. And what I'm focused on with Deputy City Administrator Donnie Oliveira is to creating a permitting strike team. We want to know where are the bottlenecks so we can address the bottlenecks, and then in a continuous improvement focus, fix and move on. And we have a new technology system at the permitting department that we're going to be supercharging. So the answer is we hear what those concerns are and we are dedicated to fixing them. But with this new form of government and not having all the different bureaus and the conversations, we can collaborate and quickly address those bottlenecks together in a multi-bureau district. It's really the right government at the right time to do all of those things that you just said and address them well.
Go ahead, right there.
Hi there. Thank you all so much for being here. Question for Mayor Wilson and or members of the City Council. I mean, this proposal, as you've mentioned, is going to require council approval. Do you think that you have enough votes on council right now to have this approved? I do notice that Vice Chair of the Housing Committee, Jamie Dunphy's here. The Housing Chair, Candace Avalos, is not. I'm wondering when we might expect to see this proposal come to the Housing Committee.
I have been very proud with the conversations I've had with council. I've spoke to all 12 of them, and I will say they have cautious optimism, and they should. Their job is to represent their communities. But we share a collective focus on turning Portland around, and we know economic activity is one of them. Regarding Councilor Avalos, she's out of town. She's at the League of Oregon Cities, and so she's not here. But in the conversations with the councilors I have right here, they have a host of different concerns. And we have been having robust, ongoing discussions with the governor, with the developers, with the councilors. And I think we have the bones of a really good bill to discuss. But it's not fully baked. We're going to spend this next several weeks and work out the details. But one of the things I heard from the councilors is we have to go big and we have to be bold. And that's exciting because they recognize that they're ready to meet the moment. And I'm confident we're going to have support on council, but we're willing to do the work to find out what their needs are to make sure that their constituents are well taken care of as well.
And a quick question for the governor. In your recommended budget, you would ask lawmakers to approve up to $100 million for housing-related infrastructure. We wanted to find out if that is still a realistic ask in terms of that amount.
Oh, if anyone knows how I work, I'm going to push to every last moment in the legislature to get my budget done. The $100 million is very supported from a bipartisan perspective. And remember, last legislative session, legislators did something similar by individual projects, and some of those projects were in Portland, where they said, here's about $90 million for specific projects that will facilitate new housing construction. $100 million is in my budget to set up a program to continue to do that, right? Through a programmatic lens. We need that. We're hearing that from around the state, and I think we'll get there. My message to legislators, particularly our co-chairs, is this is a time to invest in housing. That $100 million is key to getting more units online. The money last year has put 25,000 units potentially in the pipeline for the next 2 to 4 years across the state. We need another $100 million to keep that progress going.
That's a great question, and it's all the above. So it's for new permits for new housing, but waiving SDCs has a material benefit to start looking at these offices to convert to residential. If you want to take one of our towers downtown and convert it, it's all about the SDCs. And if you want to bring 250 units into one building, we're willing to waive those SDCs for office towers as well. And that's one of the byproduct benefits, is it allows the developers to start looking at their stack to see how can we turn that from red to green. So that's also an exciting part of bringing the private enterprise to the table to help supercharge that not only just outside of the downtown core, but what can we do in the inside core to start creating that retail and residential environment in a multi-resourced area.
Lucas, you got 2 virtuals?
No more virtual questions in the queue.
All right, anyone who hasn't asked their question yet?
Got one back here.
Go for it.
Are there any specific projects that you guys are already looking at with these waived SDCs?
Yes, there's a host of projects. We've been working with this work group and asking them, if we did this, can we turn your projects from red to green? And speaking with DCA Donnie Oliveira, he has commitments. There are possibly thousands of units that will immediately begin that process of coming out of the permit department, pulling their permits, and getting ready to build.
And then you had mentioned tough budget times. Do you know the financial impacts that this could have over the next couple of years? Like, have you guys looked at the numbers? The city is in a shortfall, what that could look like over the next few years? You had mentioned this is way for 3 years.
Yes, so the impact to our general fund is immaterial to begin in this next fiscal year. The impact is primarily on the capital side, the CapEx that's required for roads, for sewer, for water. Very important, but right now our activity is so low, we don't have that revenue coming in anyways. So it's about the opportunity cost. Are we willing to wait and hope to turn the city around? Or are we ready to take charge and actually partner with the public-private partnerships to bring it back? And then, on the flip side, we have more ratepayers. We have more activity. Downstream, this is the beginning of our renaissance, and that's what we've budgeted this to look like.
All right, we're right at time. Governor, do you have any final thoughts?
I'm just really proud of what the city's doing, and they have my full support, so thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Council President, thank you so much for the conversation.